Hi, and welcome to the Arcade Buffet. Today we're going to show you how to discharge and remove the chassis off of a K7000 25-inch CRT. Tools you will need, there are several different ones. You'll need a pair of dikes, or diagonal cutters of some vintage. You'll need a 1/4 inch driver to take the screws out with, and to be safe you will need a discharge tool. So let's get started here. This is the K7000 that was pulled out of a game, and we're going to remove the chassis, which includes the neck board, the main chassis itself, your anode, your yoke wires, and in the back, which you probably can't see back here, is your D-gauze. But for reference, on this chassis, I'll show you, we're going to remove the yoke wires, which plug right here on these 4 posts. Your D-gauze goes right here. Your neck board, which attaches to the back of the tube, and your anode, which attaches to the tube itself and the anode cup. Alright, now, first things first is you might want to discharge, you want to discharge your monitor. So, you can use a screwdriver with an alligator clip attached to it, or you can have a discharge tool. What you want to do is take an easy lift up and stick your discharge tool until you feel it hit the center legs under the anode cap. Wait for a couple minutes, or wait for a couple seconds. Take it out. You should hear a snap if you use a screwdriver method, where this is a discharge tool where it has a bleed off resistor in it. So wait a couple seconds and do it again. On a K7000 you typically do not have to do this. It discharges on its own in about 10 minutes, but better safe than sorry, you should always discharge. Now once you have it discharged, you can take and lift the cup up, and you see there's a clip under here. Well, what you can do 2 ways is you can take a screwdriver and you get a little poking tool here. It's not a screwdriver, but same thing, and you can take and pull the clip out, or you can bend it just a little bit, pull it one way, lift it out, and it comes out. Alright, next what you want to do is you will need to cut your DAG wire. On a K7000 it is not connected by a connector, unfortunately. It is soldered directly to the neck board and directly to the tube, usually over here in this corner. Not always, but most of the time. And it comes up here and goes to your neck board. So what you want to do is take your diagonal cutters, or your cutters, and give yourself a little room to work with. Don't cut it up here where you don't have a lot to work with. Don't cut it way back here where it's hard to get to if you reinstall this in the game. Give yourself a little room to work. Come back 6-8 inches from where it connects to the neck board, and just simply give it a cut. Now that that's out of the way, the next thing to do is remove the neck board so you have room to work and you don't break it. But what you want to do is you don't twist it, because if you twist it you will break the neck. You break the pins and you break the tube, and once you do that your tube is shot. So in order to take it off, just don't take it and yank. Take both hands and cup it easy, and easy rock slowly, very slowly, and it comes straight off. So now this gives you access so you can see inside of the chassis. Now the next thing we're going to remove is the D-gauze wire, which is back here in the back. Okay, it's just a 2-prong or 2 connector. It comes, some of them are stubborn. Wiggle it just easy and it comes straight off. Next you want to take off your yoke wires, which are connected to the yoke, and that's what gives you your picture. So the one way to do it, the way I do it is, on most, is you can reach down in there if you want and try to grab the connector, but if you do it easy and cup your fingers around the wire and put your thumb on the heat sink, you can pull straight up. Use the other hand and it will come straight off the chassis. Don't pull too hard. If you have to, move it back and forth a little bit, because some of them are on there from time. They're just stubborn. Alright, now once you have that off, the last thing you pretty much have to do is take the two screws out. You have one screw here and one screw over here. So take your 1/4 inch driver and simply remove the screws. Make sure you keep a hold of them, because you will need them to go back in. Alright, now that should be everything that you need to disconnect. Now make sure, if you have a remote board, make sure you pay attention, and when you take the chassis out, you have to feed this with it. And also your neck board, make sure you be careful with it, because you don't want to have to redo any unnecessary repairs. Now in this particular frame, you see how the pan is cocked up at about a 45-degree angle or so. Most K7s have a flat pan where the pan is down here, and you've got a lot more room to work with. But on this particular one, you don't. So on this one, the easiest way is to just lift the chassis up, and it's real tight against the yoke, so you got to be careful. And slowly, just slowly, take and work your neck board, your anode, and make sure nothing catches, and just work it out the side of the frame. So there we go. As you can see, this chassis needs to be rebuilt. I got it out of a game that's had a little worse for wear, but it'll clean up nice and come back to work and work just fine. So there you go. Again, here's where your yoke was connected. Here is where your degauss was connected, and your neck board that was on your monitor. Now if you have a monitor that has never been repaired, on some of them you will notice there's a little bit of gray silicone. Sometimes it's white, sometimes it's clear, but also it's here on the neck as well. All you really need to do when you pull that off, you can take a little razor blade and you can take and slit it just a little bit, or just work it back and use your finger, and you can pick it off as your neck board comes loose, so that way you can get your neck board off, because they were siliconed on there from the factory to help move for movement and vibration. Now on a K7, sometimes this piece right here is fragile, so don't worry about it. It's not necessary for chassis operation. It's just a guide to help the neck go on. If it breaks, not a big problem. You can steal one off of another monitor or even off of an older TV, so they're not a big deal. So if there's any questions or comments, please post them in the comment section on my YouTube on this video. And if there's any other questions, please feel free to message me. Hope this has been a good tutorial. And for reinstallation, you do pretty much everything in reverse. There's not much of a change. The only thing that you will have to do is you will have to reconnect your anode, or not anode, your degauss wire. So you will want to strip this and strip this, and either use a wire nut, or you can crimp Molex pins on it and use an actual connector, or you can solder it. Doesn't make a big difference, but it must be reconnected. So do not forget to do that when you do the reinstall process. So thank you. Any questions, please post them in the comment section. This has been the Arcade Buffet. Your host, me, Buffet, and my cameraman, Jason. So, thank you very much. Talk at you.